Hello and welcome to the stretch part of Game to Train. This is a super quick, super efficient stretching routine that I have done for like over a decade by now. It's an amalgamation of some of the best stretches I've found from like lots of different workouts, and no matter what workout I've done, it's always been really, really good and helped me prevent injury. So we're going to do it together today. So just to start with, I just want you to take your arms up. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. And then I just want you to clasp your hands together and just reach to the sky and just stretch upwards a little bit. With all of these stretch moves, I want you to not force them, just to do them as gently as possible, especially if you're new to working out, if you're new to fitness, don't overextend. You can actually injure yourself stretching. So just keep it nice and gentle. You'll get deeper into the bends and things like that after time. So bring the arms up again. And then what we're going to try and do is do a flat back down. So what that means is keep your feet shoulder width apart, arms like this, and then come with a flat back forwards. Anything that feels uncomfortable, don't push it too far. We can always adjust the moves or keep it really high up. So I want you to come down to the floor. Well, aim to come down towards the floor. And just kind of hang here for a minute. So like, it doesn't matter if you're here, doesn't matter if you're here, just kind of hang for a little minute, kind of sway from side to side a little bit, just nice and gentle. You don't have to stretch too hard. It's okay. And what you'll find is, as the course of this continues onwards, you'll actually get better flexibility and you'll find you're able actually to go further down to the floor. And then what I want you to do is take the feet a little bit wider, not too much wider, and lean over to opposite hand to opposite foot. Just a little stretch. Again, it doesn't matter if you're up here, down here, just whatever's comfortable. If you want to aim for the side of that foot. And then to the other side, like that. So stay in that position. I'm just going to rotate round so you can see it a little bit better. So we're slightly wider than hip width. Now, as you're down, I want you to come up and just push, make sure your knees are following your toes. Come down, doesn't matter if it's a high squat or a low squat, wherever you find comfortable, just come down and just stop there for a second. And then I want you to put your elbow on one knee, hand on the other, and just push a little bit, like a little bit of a stretch here. Nothing too crazy, just a little bit. And then on the other side here, there we go. I like to do a back stretch here, which is 2 hands on both knees, and I arch my back upwards, but it can be a little bit difficult. We can do a cat-cow later, which is really, really good. Okay, so there's that, and then come all the way up. Now, one of the things you notice when you get older, I noticed, is mobility becomes a little bit more challenging. So I know these look really stupid, but they're really good. So when you do hip circles, I do these in the gym and I try and avoid eye contact. So just start off really gently like this, little ones. But then you want to get to a point where it's comfortable, not quite yet, where I tend to find I get tightness here and here. So just having a little lean there for a second, really helps. You do look ridiculous. But I'd rather look ridiculous than have an injury. So just do them a few times either way. That's fine. And then the other one I want to do as well, especially because Games Train is all about kind of flexibility and movement and mobility, right? I want everything to just be like loose and ready to go. Hands on your knees. Actually, I can do it slightly sideways. Hands on your knees. Come down, and we're going to do knee circles. Now, keep these really small to start with. You're just doing this nice so you can control it really gently. Don't go mad. And then other way. And then when you get a bit better, you can almost go a bit further forward. And sometimes I can hear all my feet clicking, which I assume is good. But yeah, just do these really gently, a few times each way. It's just to kind of loosen things up. We get really stiff, like definitely as gamers, I sit in some long periods, very stiff position. So, okay, there's that. Now we're going to go back to some of these you might have seen before. Okay, I like to do, put your hand on a wall for a bit of balance here. You're going to lift your knee up as high as you can and kind of hug it. Don't worry if it's here. If it's here, it's fine. I try and pull it as high up as I can. And while I'm doing that, I like to do my ankles at the same time. So I do a few little circles one way, a few little circles the other way, like that. And then you can put it down. Don't worry if it's stop for balance. We all stop for balance. And then pick it up. And then with this one, you basically want your heel as much into your butt as you can be, and then you pull it in nice and tight, and you want to push this hip way a little bit forward, like that, and just hold it there for a second. And then we're going to switch to the other leg. So again, a little bit of balance, pull it up. Don't worry, and then yeah, don't forget to do your ankles too. I mean, these are good stretches basically to do every day, just to keep kind of flexible and mobile. I mean, part of the reason why I started getting into fitness was that I basically just sit around all day playing games, and then I sit on my computer doing work. So yeah, grab to the back, and remember to push that hip forward. And sort of part of the reason why I ended up doing it, because I was like, I definitely need to combat this super sedentary lifestyle. But anyway, so we've done that. Okay, now this stretch, I've done it for years. It was something that was part of the Insanity program, which maybe one day we'll get onto like that kind of like level. It's called Insanity for a reason. It was one of the stretches that I took from there that I found really useful. And I only recently found out, apparently it's called the greatest stretch in the world. It basically is. Okay, we're going to do a slightly amended version of this just to get a little bit of extra flexibility. So to start off with, put your knee on the floor. Definitely have a mat. Like knees on hard surfaces are just not cute. So put your leg forward. And what I want you to do is just lean forward a little bit. Don't go mad. We'll get deeper into this later in the program, but just start off here. So we're just stretching around here as well. Just a little bit, just nice and gently, gently, gently. Don't go mad. And then from this point, I like to pick up my knee. So get ready. Pick up your knee like this. So you're basically just in like a lunge forward. Now you might have to have this quite high to start with, but the idea is to get lower, as low as you can. So you'll feel it here in the back of your leg. You'll feel a bit of a stretch back here. That's fine. And then what we do, and why this stretch is amazing, is if you come down, take your opposite hand to your foot, put it down on the floor next to it, and just rotate backwards. And hopefully I'm straight here. It should be like a straight line from my hand upwards, pointing upwards with and just hold it there. So you're basically doing your back, you're doing your legs, you're basically doing everything. It's great. And then what I like to do in between doing the next one is to put both hands down and just go a little bit, maybe a little bit lower in that lunge, just a little bit, just to give a bit of extra stretch. But then lift that other arm up. So basically now you want your shoulder and your knee to be next to each other, like so. And then from here, it gets interesting. Okay, so put both hands down, twist forward, just do everything very gently, and then sit back. If you can, you might be higher up like this. Sit back, just down, and you're going to stretch all of the underside of this leg here. Just sit there for a minute, it's cool. If you're up here, this is also fine. I actually find it easier being down here. Up there is more difficult. And then we're gonna go to the other side. All right, so same thing again, knee down. Remember, always have your knees following your toes. You can actually have, there was a thing for ages where it's like, don't put your knee over your toe. I mean, in this you're not going to, but apparently that was disproven. But I think the most important thing is just for the knee to follow the toe. So if you're like this, doing that, that's when you start to have problems, especially when you lift weights and stuff. Okay, so we've done a little bit of that, that's fine. Then we're gonna come up. I just like to push back a bit, just a little stretch there. Come down into that lunge. You can be really cool and do these things, but it's ultimately quite tiring. So maybe just put the hand down. Remember, opposite hand, opposite foot. Twist up. That's it. A little bit, just feel that stretch in your butt, your under butt, and in the top of your leg here as well. It kind of stretches everything. It's a good move. And then both hands down, just a little, go a little lower. Relax it a bit, just go a little lower. Don't have to be there for too long. And then come up like this. Nice and straight, hopefully. I have no idea, I'm assuming I'm straight. I mean, about this. And then go and come down into that deep lunge. So do it really, use both hands to lower yourself at this point if this is new. I'm a bit cavalier with it myself, but I've done it for over a decade. So just come down nice and low. Remember, it doesn't matter if you're higher, it's okay. What you want to get is that nice little stretch there. You can definitely feel that one. And then, now only do these if you really feel like you can, because they can be a bit tricky to start with. But ideally, what I'd like you to do, sit this one out if you think it's a bit too much, is to basically sit on your own foot a little bit. So put the foot out to the side, hands either side of the mat here, and your knee, and you just want your legs straight out back. You don't have to, you can lower it down a little bit, but ultimately actually it's more important, I think, to be upright and stretch this part here. And you can kind of like move it from side to side a little bit. It kind of feels nice. This is a good one to do after you've done legs. Ugh, it makes it feel so much better. Okay, and then we're going to switch legs. So pop them around. Do it again. I mean, there's some quite mad leg stretchy things you can do, but it's not really necessary for the kind of workouts we're going to do. I just want to make sure you're ready to go, you know. Maybe if we do something about splits, but that would be a whole learning process for me, to be honest. Okay, so now we're going to put your leg back and we're going to lower ourselves down. Oh, actually, no, wait. What am I saying? I want to do a little downward dog first. So you can kind of keep your feet and your hands like roughly the same distance, and you just sort of kind of go into this really unflattering pose. Then the idea is to try and put your heels down. Don't push it. Do it really gently. And you sort of stretch back and try and put those heels down. And my hamstrings are always really tight. So this is a good one. Oh. Okay, there we go. Right, now come forward. Feet a bit more together. Lower yourself down or just flop. It doesn't really matter. My floor's very dusty. Now, put your hands in front of you. And what I want you to do is just come up a little bit into a little baby cobra. Let's see how we get on with this height to start with. I sometimes still do like my ankles a little bit while I'm doing this, just to, you know, I mean, they're quite clicky. So, I mean, maybe that's why they're clicky. Then we're going to go down again and try and do a deeper one. So this time move your hands to the side of like the mat, so like shoulder width. And then push it up. Now, if you can just get to here, this is fine. Don't go crazy. If you can stretch it further back, you can. I did some abs yesterday and this, ow, just hurts. Okay, now we're going to come down again. Put your hands down, get your legs ready, because we're going to basically fold backwards into a child's pose, like this. So basically your hands and your knees are aligned. You're going to come back like this. You're stretching now. You should feel it all here. The underside of your arms. We're also pushing back and stretching out the various areas of your butt region. Oh my God, that's my stomach, sorry. And then if you really want to do fun stuff, you can keep doing that again and making your hips slightly wider. But let's just keep it with this to start with. So then we're going to go down. And then we go forwards again. Come back down to the mat. Legs wide. We're going to pop up or step up. So push up, back into downward dog again. Try not to knock over the plants. And then you can pop up or you can just walk back. And actually, you should be able to find that you should be a little bit longer, maybe now. And then come up. If you do have back problems, we can do one more little stretch for that, like if you're concerned about your back. Never make eye contact when doing this. It just makes things weird. I mean, unless you want it to be weird. So, right, it's called a cat-cow. Hands and knees, so shoulder width apart in a kind of square configuration. This is super great. It's better than the other one we did for our back, but I don't always need it unless I'm like lifting heavy. So what you're going to do is, like, you're in like a kind of tabletop, so you're flat back, so it should be straight. And then you're going to basically tip it in, and then you're going to, like a cat, you know, when they stretch like that. And then you basically make it concave, head up, hold it, and then up like that. And if you really want to get good flexibility, and this looks so stupid, but it's really good, is what I do. I find it, can I only do it one way, is if you do hip circles while you're doing it, you look completely stupid. Let me just show you from a slightly different angle, just to really hammer home the embarrassment factor. Screw it. So what you're going to do is I do this. So it's like a combo of doing concave and circles, but oh my God, it's so good for your hips and for your back. And really, you just want to be like ready to go, because honestly, anything can happen in games train. You've got to be prepared for it all. So yeah, that's the stretch. I hope that's okay. Any questions, ping them in there and we can go through them. But yeah, let's go work out.